Hey, it's Marko here from Fair Realty, Victoria, BC. Today I'm going to talk about my personal experiences operating under a PREC, Personal Real Estate Corporation, for the last 8 years. The number one benefit by far of having a PREC is income tax deferral, which I'm going to explain shortly. There's some other benefits such as retirement and estate planning, etc. But all these other benefits, they really pale in comparison to the income tax deferral concept. So let me explain it quickly. If you're a successful realtor, but you're not a PREC and you're making $300,000 per year, your tax load plus your CPP paid, you're looking at approximately $130,000, depending on whether you're in BC, Ontario, slightly different marginal tax rate. So that would leave you approximately $170,000 after you've paid your taxes. Let's say you use personally $100,000 of those funds for mortgage payments, food, vacations, etc. At the end of the year, that would leave you $70,000 left over to invest or save, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you open a PREC, that PREC gets paid $300,000. The PREC is taxed at a corporate income tax rate, which is 12, 13%, 12.5%, depending on, once again, which province you're in. So to make the number simple, $300,000, let's say you have a $40,000 income tax load on that $300,000 corporate tax. And then you have to pay yourself $127,000 in dividends. The reason it's $127,000 is you have to pay $27,000 worth of taxes on those dividends, and then you're left over with $100,000 that you can personally use, once again, for mortgage, food, vacations. But when you go 300,000 minus 40,000 minus 127,000 in dividends, you're left with $133,000 within your corporation to save and invest. So on one side you're left with 70,000, on the other side you're left with 133,000 inside your corp. Seems like a no-brainer to incorporate. Well, wait a minute. First of all, you have expenses. My expenses run over $20,000 in terms of maintaining a PREC. There's also a holdco underneath the PREC. The reason I made this video is my bookkeeper, and I love my bookkeeper. I've had her for more than 15 years. She's excellent. But you know, she sent me invoices for mid-year kind of bookkeeping, and for the PREC, they were $2,800. For my holdco, they were $1,800. It was almost $5,000, and, you know, I understand she has staff to pay, there's work involved, etc. But that was $5,000 just for the mid-year bookkeeping. Then there's the bookkeeping at the end of the year, and there was accounting for two different companies. Then I paid double the licensing fees for my real estate license, because I have to pay one real estate licensing renewal fee for Marko, Juras, one for the Personal Real Estate Corporation. Then there's all these other issues that I've had in terms of putting condos I've bought to rent in a company name, in terms of added legal fees, higher mortgage rates, etc. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't really say the difference is 133 and 70,000. There's, as I said, just the bookkeeping and accounting costs and licensing extra costs are well over $20,000. So right away, that margin shrinks substantially. Other issues I've had personally with having a PREC is I don't spend a lot on luxurious items. This is a shirt from H&M I paid $12 for. I've never had a watch in my entire life. I've never had a watch. I have no jewelry. I'm not a big spender, but in recent years, I've acquired a few properties in Croatia, and where am I going to get that money? Well, I had to pull that money out of the PREC, and I got taxed very, very hard when I pulled that money out of the PREC, because I'm paying corporate tax and then I'm paying personal tax when I pull that money out of my PREC to purchase property in Croatia. And obviously you can do some other things, like, you know, for a portion of those funds I refinanced my personal residence so I could draw money out, transfer it to Croatia. But essentially you really have to give a PREC a lot of thought. If you go just by the income tax deferral concepts you're presented with by various professionals, it looks like an absolute no-brainer, but you really have to factor in the cost of running a PREC and potentially a holdco. And it's also very, very time consuming because then you have articles that have to get filed with the lawyer. Like, the documentation just explodes once you open up PREC. I find I spend a lot of my time, even though I have a bookkeeper and account, I spend a lot more of my time than I did previously on various accounting issues. Also, try and go get a mortgage for a condo or a rental property that's registered in a company name versus your personal name. It's like 10 times more difficult, and instead of the bank requiring 10 documents, they require 50 documents. So would I go down the road of a PREC again? I probably would, because I think going forward, I'm probably going to be extracting less funds out of my PREC, so it's probably going to make more sense in terms of an income tax deferral. But there are a lot of things that are not, you really have to experience running your own PREC and draw your own conclusions, whether it's worth it or not. But don't go into it completely blind thinking, oh, you know what, I'm going to be $60,000 better off per year running a PREC, and you're not even factoring in the extra $20,000 in various additional costs. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair Realty.